Sorry.
Are you kidding?
Oh my gosh. Dude, I was trying to think of something creative to say for the intro, and I just couldn't do it. What's up, 4th and Trollers? My name is Noah Selby.
I'm Wes Selby. I thought you were
dude, we're just in now. Oh no, dude, we're just in now. We're just in.
Okay, got it.
Just beginning of episode is just a long
Holy
pause. I'm so sorry. That's just the beginning of the episode.
I can't hear this back.
Welcome back to 4th and Troll Fantasy. The most entertaining fantasy football podcast on the planet. We are back with you for another episode, and it is Top 10 Quarterbacks Day, baby. We are going over our top 10 quarterbacks for the 2024 fantasy football season. That's right. It's August. We are so close to getting back into fantasy football. It's draft season coming up. Wes, we just had our draft order established for our home league that we play in for many years now. And dude, we were both just so pissed off. And then we did some mock drafts and we were like, oh, okay, that's it. All right, we're cool. All right, never mind. But yeah, picking from the 1-2, dude. 101 to 102.
Horrible. Hate it.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Hate it after a while, but.
It's going to be fun. Listen, we got a great episode for you. Stick around. I've got somebody in my top 5 quarterbacks that you guys are not going to want to miss. I'm hyped to talk about this person.
Oh, God.
Before we do all that, check out the description below. While you're there, like, subscribe, ring the bell. We got a bunch of stuff down there for you. If you want to get our weekly rankings, you can do that down there and join our Discord community. Also, we are giving away a signed James Cook jersey if you can beat us in fantasy football this season. So you're not going to want to miss that. Do not miss being a part of that. And also giving some exclusive merch out as well this season at the end of the season. It's going to be a blast. All that is down in the description through our Patreon, patreon.com/4th and Troll Fantasy. Follow us on our socials too. Not that that's an afterthought. We just like to have fun there too as well. So make sure you do all that. And it's going to be a blast. We are one episode away. This is episode 99, Wes. We are one episode away from episode 100. One mother effing 100, dude. 100 episodes of 4th and Troll Fantasy. Thank you guys for being around here, whether you're new, whether you've been here since day one. It's been an absolute blast, and we can't wait. I'll say all that for next episode. Not going to cry right now. Wes, we got some news.
Yes.
Jump into it. Let's talk about it. Let's have a blast.
I mean, let's be honest. You're here for the top 10 quarterbacks of fantasy football, so I'm going to just paraphrase all this. It's important stuff, but let's just get to it. First of all, Justin Herbert diagnosed with an injury to his plantar fascia in his right foot. His week 1 status is questionable. DeAndre Hopkins suffered a knee injury. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks from this week, so his week 1 status is also questionable. DJ Moore, hey, he signed a 4-year, $100 million extension with the Bears, hopefully to play with Caleb Williams for 4 years. Browns' new running back, Donta Foreman, suffered a scary neck injury. He's going to be out for a little bit, so right now while Nick Chubb is out, Jerome Ford looks like the lone back in Cleveland for those who want to draft. Noah's talked about him a lot as a great sleeper for most of the season. Running backs again, Jonathan Brooks, Panthers rookie running back, is looking like he's going to miss the first 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season because he's still recovering from his ACL tear in his last season at Texas. And Puka Nacua, first-round talent, Puka Nacua is dealing with a bit of a knee injury. He's considered week to week. Status for week 1's not in question, but if it's week to week, just keep that in mind when you draft. That's it. Enough of this. Top 10 quarterbacks for fantasy. In stone. No take backsies. Let's do this.
Let's do it, dude. I'm hyped. Let's talk about it. It's going to be a blast. We're going to go back and forth and back. I don't know why I paused on that one. Back and forth as well. And forth and back. And forth and troll. And I'm just going down the rabbit hole.
Epic. Dude.
Thanks, dude.
Eminem walked in.
We're going to go back and forth. 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8. Wicked Slim Shady. I hate myself.
Joe Burrow is Slim Shady on Sleeper. Did you see that?
Right. Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, his new bleach blonde. New bleach blonde do. It's a fun time. We're going to go through it. 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, back and forth. It's going to be a blast. Let's do it. Let's jump into it. I don't have anything more to say. Number 10. My number 10. QB 10 for the fantasy football season of 2024. Rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. Listen, elite rushing upside cannot be messed with when it comes to fantasy football, when it comes to fantasy football quarterbacks. I have something for you. Ready? Every
Yes.
quarterback, every rookie quarterback in the last decade who has had, I apologize. I mixed this up. This isn't rookie quarterback. This is every quarterback.
Quarterback
Every
in
quarterback,
general.
yes, in general, every quarterback in the last decade who has had 80 plus rush attempts in the season has been a top 10 quarterback in points per game. It is a bona fide, tried and true over the last 10 years. You cannot mess with it. It is fact. Also, fact, Jaden Daniels had the highest scramble rate ever for a college quarterback over his time in his collegiate athletics. If you're going to look at me and say that whatever that evens out to, a little more than five rush attempts a game, there isn't going to even out to. Am I doing that? Am I doing that math right? I think I'm doing that math right. 5 rush attempts a game
What do you
is
need?
not going to
80
even out
rushes in a
to.
season?
Right. That's a little more than 5 rushes a game. More than 5. Yeah. Incredible.
There it is.
Yeah. So five rushes a game. You're telling me the quarterback who has scrambled more than any other collegiate quarterback ever is not going to run for 5 or more times a game. You don't know what you're talking about. It's going to happen. He is going to be a top 10 quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind, because the Washington Commanders defense is so bad that he's going to have to try and make things work here for the Commanders if they want to win games.
True.
I don't know what Dan Quinn's plan is, but if they want to win games, that's what they're going to have to do. And I'll tell you this, his OC is Cliff Kingsbury, who had Kyler Murray be a top 6 fantasy quarterback in his rookie season with no 1,000-yard receivers, with nothing. It was just Kyler Murray running around back there like a toddler. Jaden Daniels, QB 10 for the fantasy football season.
Say it with your chest out. Jaden Daniels, top 10?
Jaden Daniels, top 10. Book it. Mark my words.
Book it. Y'all heard of a 4th and Troll double down? How about that?
Oh, get out of here.
Let's start on the show. I'm Jaden Daniels as number
dude.
10. Top 10 this season. Nothing else to say other than I'm predicting, just to show exactly the rushing upside, because it is the undeniable greatest attribute of any quarterback for fantasy football. You can have bad quarterbacks on bad teams that have rushing upside, and they're still top 10 in quarterbacks. Ask Justin Fields. Jaden Daniels, you know what I'm thinking? Not even 3,000 yards passing. You know what I'm also thinking? Not even 25 passing touchdowns. Top 10. Because I'm thinking he's going to get at least 650 rushing yards and about 6 rushing touchdowns. That's it. That's half of what he did last year at LSU. Half. He had like almost 1,200 rushing yards. There it is. Top 10. What a way to
12
start.
games, by the way.
That's right.
College football's so dumb. 12
Insane.
games. Losers.
4th and Troll double down. Jaden Daniels is a top 10 quarterback. No question about it.
Absolutely. That is thrilling. Oh my gosh, I love it. I cannot believe we got to start that way. Jaden Daniels is going to be special, and he's going well past that in the ADP. He's a great value, especially if you're targeting somebody earlier in the draft and you get sniped. You know what? Whatever. Don't even worry about it. Just grab Jaden Daniels later in the draft. He's absolute stud there at the QB 10 spot. We've got him. My QB 9 for the 2024 fantasy football season. Ricky Slim Shady himself, Joe Burrow, there at my QB 9 spot. Now listen, Joe Burrow started slow last season, as he does. It's Joe Burrow. So what's new? He comes out with slow starts, as you know, that's just part of his contract. We didn't really know what was up, but we did. He had a major calf injury in training camp, you guys. We knew about this, but as soon as it came to the season, we all were like, Joe Burrow's broken. He's washed. There's no way. Let's just remember, okay? Let's remember he had a major calf injury in training camp. He's getting over that. He came on slow. What did he do from week 5 on? Over the next 5 games, just threw 12 touchdowns over his next 5 games after that. He was an absolute stud. He just took a little bit to come on, and he should be good again with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and really no solidified solid run game. We know we've got a little bit of a committee there, but Joe Mixon's gone. There's not going to be much work for him as a bell cow anymore. Burrow's going to have to be good if they want to win, and I think he can be. With these pocket passing quarterbacks, we've talked about it a lot. It comes down to you call your shot on who's going to be who's going to be the best? Who's going to have the best chance of throwing 4,400 yards and 35 touchdowns? I like Joe Burrow's chances. I do. T. Higgins playing for a new contract. We got Jamar Chase, who's holding in. He's looking for more money, especially as all these new wide receivers are getting money. I like the chances of Joe Burrow to be a really solid pocket passer quarterback for your fantasy team, to get back to some of his old ways that he had fantasy success for us and be just a really studly guy. I know I expressed some concerns about his wrist, his hand earlier in the offseason.
Yeah.
From all accounts, he looks great. It's going to be a fun time in Cincinnati. Him, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, going to be a blast. I like Joe Burrow. I think the ADP is a little high. I don't know if I'll draft him, but I do think he's in the top 10. So he's my QB 9.
I am the pessimist with Joe Burrow this season. He's not quite in my top 10. I have him as number 12.
Okay.
So
okay.
him
Still
being
a
where he is,
quarterback in a 12-team league.
He is a starting quarterback,
Still
and if
worthy
you're
of a
not,
draft pick.
but it's his ADP is not worth drafting for either of our concerns. As the highest, I guess the consensus between the two of us is that he is QB 10. It's kind of the middle, the split difference. Maybe 11.
And you don't want to go into your draft planning to draft the QB 10. So
I mean, if you're gonna wait in your draft to get two quarterbacks and one of them is Jaden Daniels, I think you're in a great spot. But point being, I am not expecting a ton this year from Burrow, but I can certainly be wrong. He's a guy that when he's healthy is throwing 30+ touchdowns. So I understand. I certainly understand. Okay. Hey, I actually have a quarterback I'm going to talk about because this isn't a Fourth Control double down. Okay. My number 9 quarterback is Lamar Jackson. I think it's a bit I think Derrick Henry just is going to take away from the upside. Just plain and simple. He's not really a huge passer. He had 3,600 passing yards last season. So Lamar Jackson definitely showed that he can ball out. But we drafted him for his rushing upside, plain and simple. And I think Derrick Henry is going to affect that. But this to me is his floor. I mean, sure. With his injuries, he could fall out of the top 15. It's happened before. But I think this is probably a safe bet. He's either going to get hurt and is going to be out of the top 10 entirely, or he's going to be somehow even better, 3rd MVP 2 years in a row, and he's going to be the QB3. So for me, I think Derrick Henry's addition to the team is going to take away from his rushing upside. And for a quarterback who really doesn't even throw 3,000 yards all that much, I'm kind of taking the under on the upside. Still top 10. Still gonna have those weeks where he's gonna have 35+ points, and you're like, damn it, why didn't I get Lamar Jackson? There's gonna be weeks where you're like, damn it, why did I draft Lamar Jackson? It's like another 9-point game. So I'm calling I think Derrick Henry's gonna be I don't want to admit it, but I think Derrick Henry's gonna play a bigger role. So Lamar Jackson, number 9 for me.
I'll save my comments on that one for later because he's inside my top 10. We'll talk about it here in just a little bit. I'll jump to my QB 8 now. Excited to talk about this guy. I think he's exciting. I think he's a fun player. It's a second year, technically, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love. I've got him as my QB 8 this season. This is why. Over the second half of the season, Jordan Love was on pace for 4,600 yards, 38 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. Did Green Bay somehow do the damn thing again and get a 3rd straight Hall of Fame quarterback to play for them? They might have. But again, similar thing with Joe Burrow. When it comes to these pocket passing quarterbacks, I think you just need to end up calling your shot. And I do believe that Jordan Love makes his way into the top 10 this season. He's got weapons all over the place. It's going to be a second full year starting in the system. And boy, oh boy, did he get a bag of money to go ahead and motivate him to play well. I'll tell you that much. So I think he does end up sneaking his way into this top 10 in my QB 8 spot. It won't surprise me at all if he comes out and goes, for that 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns this season. He's got a ton of weapons, man. I just think he's really special, and I think he could be a good guy. On the inverse, it's scary talking about a guy like this when he's had 1 season starting in the NFL. It's scary.
Mhm.
We could come back to this when Jordan Love is the QB 18 at the end of this season and be like, well, yeah, why do we buy in after one season? That's so dumb. Why do we try and do that? So it's risky. But Jordan Love, especially where the ADP is, I think he's in the top 10. I think he's going to be really, really solid for your fantasy football teams as really a pocket passing quarterback kind of guy. And I don't love the pocket passing quarterbacks when it comes to fantasy football, but I do think he just makes into that top 10. So I've got him as my QB 8 this season.
Yeah, and I think that's probably like a realistic expectation. I'm buying in on Jordan Love, so I have yet to talk about him. He's higher
Okay.
up on my list, but I'm buying
I
in.
love it.
I think part of it is a fully healthy wide receiver core, but regardless, he's top 10. I think it's pretty safe to assume. And I don't think it's a fluke. I think Jordan Love is the real deal, and that's
Yeah.
just the fortunate experience of having Aaron Rodgers as your coach for 3 years essentially, and then you give it one shot and you win a playoff game your first year. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Screw
Okay,
you,
speaking of
Wisconsin.
speaking of taking your shot on quarterbacks who can throw 4,500 yards and 30 plus touchdowns, I'm going to believe Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford's top 10 again.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cooper Cup,
You, you
healthy.
oh,
Puka Nakua, superstar. Knee injury, he'll be fine. And I think with however many games we get of Kyron Williams, I think you piece that together with the gunslinger. I think this is the real deal. And I think just as a byproduct of how good this Rams offense will be, Matthew Stafford ends up top 10. And I think he's pushing for that 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns. And he's going to remind everybody, oh, right, you're still here and you're still very good. And now you
mhm,
have a young, great wide receiver. It's almost like Peyton Manning with Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne, when all of a sudden
mhm.
realize, crap, we can't stop them both. So I'm believing in this guy. Very easy draft pick with no risk, high reward. He's like 13th, 14th round at best. I didn't actually remember his ADP. Very easy draft pick for me. I'm I'm taking Stafford as my second quarterback, though, because I want to be able to have someone with that rushing upside, because that's the point of what Noah and I are always talking about. You need rushing upside if you want to have a great top 10 quarterback, unless you really think someone's going to throw a billion yards. So, calling my shot, Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford, top 10 quarterback this year.
Wow. Going as QB 19. That is far too low for a guy who is of Matthew Stafford's
Yeah.
caliber, who's on this offense, who has this coach, who has a defense without a Hall of Famer, arguably the best defensive player ever on
Yeah.
it now to help keep them closer in games. Oh man, that is I don't know where he's at in my rankings. I don't have my full rankings in front of me. I assure you he needs to come up a little bit because that is QB 19
Yes.
is far too low for
Oh,
him for sure.
disrespectful.
Absolutely disrespectful. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about our wide receivers. QB 7 for me
Yes.
on the 2024 fantasy
Yes.
football season. It is true second year quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. It is Anthony Richardson. Listen, insanely small sample size,
Mm.
but 2 full games last season is all he played. He was QB 2, he was QB 4. And now let me talk to you about one of his games that he didn't really play at all. He played 18 snaps in week 2, and he scored 17.7 fantasy points in 18 snaps. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in 18 snaps. You guys, Anthony Richardson is special, and I get the risk. I know it's scary. This is an insanely small sample size. But with how brilliant of a mind Shane Steichen is, with the money they gave to Michael Pittman Jr. to make a difference on this offense for a young quarterback like Anthony Richardson, they drafted Adonai Mitchell. I'm not even a big Adonai Mitchell fan, but they want to give Anthony Richardson the tools to be an elite quarterback in this football league in the NFL. And I believe that is going to translate well to fantasy football. The rushing upside is absolutely elite. And while I may not fully trust the passing volume, I do believe that he does enough here, as we mentioned with Jaden Daniels, the rushing upside there. We're projecting Jaden Daniels for maybe 650 yards and 6 touchdowns. I expected the same, if not more, for Anthony Richardson with how they've spoken this offseason about his utilization in the offense. I believe he's going to be really special. I've got him at QB7. I believe he's going around QB7. I like the pick where he's at. He's going as QB6. So if you want, this is, and similarly to how you were speaking about, well, I already forgot whoever you said, Lamar Jackson. Similar to how you're speaking about Lamar Jackson, I think QB7 is the floor. It's not going to surprise me. It will not surprise me whatsoever if Anthony Richardson turns out a QB1 season with how he played, with
It's
how
possible.
he was just unbelievable using his legs. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be really special. QB7 is Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you know. He's QB6. I'm going to jump ahead one, let you know he's QB6 for me. So we are on the same wavelength. And it really comes down to just how many passing yards he's actually going to have. And it comes down to how integrated Jonathan Taylor is in the way where is he actually taking away from Anthony Richardson, because I think I heard they played 4 snaps together. I think that's what I heard. Something like that. Like they hardly
along
played
those lines, probably.
They didn't play at all together last year. So they're both very excited to play with each other, but we'll see just how important it is for them to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor and when they leave it in Richardson's hands. But I mean, the Colts organization has been very vocal saying we're not going to tell him to stop running. That's his gift. That's why we drafted him in the 4th round. I mean, or the 4th overall, excuse me. So like we're going all in. So I'm with you. You have him 7. I have him at 6. I'm
love it.
I'm excited.
Rewind it. Tell me who your 7 is.
So number 7, same reason that I have Matthew Stafford as number 8. Number 7, fins up. I believe the bag is worth it for Tua Tagovailoa. Led the league in passing yards. Number 7, best QB in fantasy. Tyreek Hill restructured his contract to play 3 years with Tua. Jalen Waddle got the bag. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with a team. They got Jonnu Smith. And if either of those 2 new additions are even a shadow of themselves, that's more of a red zone threat for Tua. Not to mention Raheem Mostert, the touchdown machine, and Devon Achane, the fastest running back in the league. Plus, there's Jalen Wright. They drafted Jalen Wright. Like, the offense could not be better. There literally is probably not a better offense. And all Tua has to do is throw it. And it's going to end up in the end zone a bunch of times. My only concern is that they keep benching him in the 3rd quarter because they're winning by so much. That was one of the biggest woes I had as a Tyreek Hill owner, a Tua owner in a lot of leagues last year. Was like, damn it. Like, I mean, I just saw Mike White throw a touchdown to Robbie Chosen against the Broncos, and that could have been more for Tyreek. So, but I'm buying in. I think Tua's the top 7 quarterback in fantasy, but that's what you need. You need to believe in someone that's going to throw 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. He's yet to throw 30 touchdowns, but I think that can happen this year. I think with all that's gone through with Mike McDaniel, I believe it. I'll buy into it. Am I going to draft Tua? Yeah, and someone else, and another rushing quarterback. Might walk away with Tua and Jaden Daniels. How about that? That'd be pretty nice. But I got it.
Dear God, I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Of course.
Because my goodness, when he was out there at training camp saying, show me the money, I was like, oh dear God, if we lose to Kansas City in the playoffs again, that's going to get posted everywhere.
Yeah.
And then,
true.
You know, it is what it is. But he's playing and speaking to the press like he is the highest paid player on that team, like he deserves to be, like he's going to be the leader of that team. And clearly they believe in what's going to happen because they paid him the money. So he isn't in my top 10.
Okay.
He isn't in my top 10, but I just took the bet on some other pocket passing quarterbacks. So I like it a lot. No, I do. I love Tua. I'm a big Tua guy. So we'll see. Fans. Watching him in person throw 466 and 3 was a highlight of the year last year. So
yes, it
my QB is 6. Excited to talk about him. And It is Dak Prescott. He is my QB6 this season. I believe Dak Prescott is going to continue what he was doing for really the last 75% of the season last year. Very slow start for Dallas. For whatever reason, whether it was Mike McCarthy wanting to stick to his word of being like, we're going to run the football. We're going to run. Tony Pollard, draft him in the first round. You're going to love it. Whether he was trying to stick to his word on that or not, or if he didn't want to go back to kind of what Kellen Moore was liking doing with the offense, talent and fit cannot outweigh, what you want to try and do with an offense. Dak Prescott, from week 6 on, was the quarterback 1 in fantasy football. He was tied with Josh Allen, who was being drafted as the QB1, who was going at the end of the second round, beginning of the third round in fantasy football drafts. And Dak Prescott, who was just as good as him for 12 games last season, is going way, way later than he is. I think rushing touchdowns could go up this season for Dak Prescott due to just the messy running back room. And he's also playing on a contract year, and I love that value. He does not have a guaranteed deal. He's still playing. He's out there. He's going to ball. He's going to have CeeDee Lamb, hopefully. Dallas, don't be stupid. Pay the wide receiver. Pay the man. And really no running backs. So he's got a couple threats. I really like Dak Prescott. He was just unbelievable last season when they let him loose and they let him do what he wanted to do. And I think he's going to be really special. He's my QB6 this season.
I totally understand. I have him as QB 11 because I am so worried
right
about this. I have him. If he ends up, if CD shows up and everything's fine, great. He's borderline top 5, if not better. But I'm so discouraged by this offseason and the way that the Cowboys have handled all of this drama that I think it's going to be a disappointing year for the Cowboys overall. I mean, when you have CeeDee Lamb doing what he did last year as the wide receiver 1 in fantasy, and it's easy, much easier to be a top 5 quarterback. But I looked through his stats and I was like, holy crap. Dak is always throwing 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Like he's always so good, doing this. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm not really, I'm not a classic Cowboys hater. I know it's fun to pick on the Cowboys, but for me, I'm worried about what's happened. I don't know when CD's showing up. I don't know what this looks like, but when it's resolved, if it's resolved, yes. Yeah. Dak throws it all over the place and he's great, but I'm personally not drafting him. But I have no problem whatsoever with him being just outside of your top 5. I totally understand it.
Love it. Tell us your QB6. You already did.
Anthony Richardson. So, yeah. Love him. Done. He's great.
I'll go back to back. On to my QB5. We are in the top 5, people. We are in the top 5. My quarterback 5 for the fantasy football season is Kyler Murray. He is going to be phenomenal here for your fantasy football teams. Listen, the offense is on the rise. He has, I'm not kidding you, I think and believe better rushing upside than Anthony Richardson, the elite rushing upside. He was on a 17-game pace last season of 94 attempts for 519 yards and 6 touchdowns off of the torn ACL. Right off the torn ACL. He was on pace to rush for over 506 touchdowns. James Conner was playing. James Conner was still good. I understand if you want to say Conner's going to take more touchdowns. It didn't matter for him. He was on a pace of 519 yards and 6 touchdowns off of a torn ACL. That is the kind of rushing upside that Kyler Murray has for your fantasy football team. The last time he had a true bona fide wide receiver 1, he finished as the quarterback 3 in fantasy football. He was absolutely an elite option for your fantasy football teams. And on a full season, he has never finished worse than QB6. He was his rookie season, he was QB6. The season right after his sophomore season, full season with DeAndre Hopkins, he was the QB6. The next season after that, he was the QB10 on 14 games played. and then he's had a couple years messed up due to injury, but I believe he is back. He showed he was back. He was playing at a high level for fantasy football teams when he came back last season. Add Marvin Harrison Jr. to the mix. Add another year with the staff and the offensive coordinator with Jonathan Gannon as well. Add another year with Trey McBride. It's going to be really special for Kyler Murray this season, and I'm really, really excited about it. He is my
QB5. Why don't we do a second 4th and Troll double down, baby?
Get your ass out of here, dude.
Kyler Murray is my number 5 QB as well. We're both buying in on his return. And I'm even reading in camp that he's trying to build his rapport with Michael Wilson again. Who exactly? More passing yards for him, because that is also forgotten. We love his scrambling ability, but Kyler Murray is throwing like 3,700 yards in his worst seasons when he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And like if he's rushing 500 yards and like 3, 4, 5, 6 touchdowns, like, oh my gosh. So like he's top 5. One of the best draft picks, I think, amongst all the quarterbacks, truly, because he continues to fall into like that 8th, 9th, 10th round. I think it's about the 9th round. If you get a guy with top 5 upside like him, if you draft right on those first 5 rounds, you're locked into the playoffs. I'm buying in with you. Kyler Murray, 4th and Troll double down, top 5 quarterback this season. Write it in stone.
Damn it, I love you, dude. Oh, I love
you.
Kyler Murray, QB5 on the season. It's going to be a blast. Let's go inside the top 5 even further. My QB4, Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes. He sits at 4 for me this season. Could not have him in the top 3 because I like those guys a lot more. I'll just say that. But the offense is going to return to a very much more pass-friendly system. Over the second half of last year, they really turned into like a ground-and-pound team. Why, you might ask? Because really, they couldn't just keep throwing the football to Travis Kelce. That was pretty much all they had. Patrick Mahomes was like, get Marquez Valdez-Scantling out of here. I'm not throwing him no more incomplete passes anymore. Like, literally, it was like we don't really know what more to do, what more weapons we have. That's why we saw Rashee Rice come on the second half of the year, because it was like, okay, let's figure out how we can get this guy more involved. So we finally got someone who has an ounce of skill involved in the offense in the passing game. You add Xavier Worthy as a first-round pick that you traded up for. You add Hollywood Brown in the offseason, who has had some relevance in the past, but has that similar kind of archetype to a Tyreek Hill, similar to Xavier Worthy. How can they stretch the field? That sort of deal. Tons of weapons. It's exciting. They're running it back. They're trying to go for a three-peat. ADP, in my opinion, is great in the 4th round. Like, I think you can get Mahomes in the 4th round if you're looking to construct your team that way. And he has the similar upside to be. He could easily be the QB1 this season if he returns to form how he usually used to play. So I love it. I like Mahomes a lot. He's my QB4. Couldn't put him in the top 3, but I think he's gonna be really special.
I've got him top 3. I mean, it's not that far off from you. I've got him. He's not. I mean, I'll tell you where he is in my top 3, but yeah, it's gonna be impossible for me for years and years to not put him in the top 5 when we're doing our rankings, because he's Mahomes, and no matter how much you hate him, you want him in fantasy. That's for darn tootin'. And with this receiving core, easy money. So he's your number 4, right?
He was my number 4, yeah.
Okay, and you got 3 more quarterbacks you think are better than Mahomes in fantasy.
I do. Yeah.
Okay, very exciting. Okay, here's my number 4. The kid in Green Bay. I think it's all real. Jordan Love is number 4. It's pretty high.
Okay.
It's pretty high, but he threw 33 touchdowns passing, and he had like 4,000 yards. And I think he can do that again with a healthy Christian Watson all year, with a hype behind Jaden Reed, and with the fantasy football community secretly talking about Dontavion Wicks. Josh Jacobs is there begging to be part of the passing game as well for maybe his first ever receiving touchdown. I think the writing's on the wall. He's easy top 10. We both in consensus on this, but I'm higher on it. I think he might get in the end zone on the ground once or twice as well. I'm loving it. A really good value as well for his ADP, but people know it. So you may not have a chance to draft once those first 5 are gone. Once Richardson is taken, he's pretty much the next. And so someone may just snipe him. So be prepared. That's why you're listening to all of our top 10 rankings. But Jordan Love, I think, is the real deal. I think he's got a really good shot to be top 5, and I think will be number 4.
Bada, bum, bum, bum. He's loving it. Love Jordan Love. You can't get rid of it. I mean, I respect it. You make the call, you call the shot, and I love it. I think he's a really special player. I got a few other guys I'd rather have more than him, but I think he's a really solid guy, and I think he's a great pick, especially for ADP. He is going. I was glancing down. I looked at this, dude. He's going behind. Wait, hang on. Okay, no, I saw it the wrong way. Okay, no,
Okay.
I saw the I saw the Chargers logo and I thought it was the Green Bay logo. I was like, he's going behind Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams. I was like, that's insane. No, he's not. He's not. He's going as the QB 10, but a great value for you when you talk about him as your QB 4. So I love it.
Top 3.
My top 3. We made it. We're here. My quarterback 3, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson in my brain cannot be similar to how you talk about Patrick Mahomes. I've watched Lamar Jackson enough that barring injury, I cannot have him outside of my top 3. He is just absolutely elite. I watched him in week 17, championship weekend for fantasy football, throw for 5 touchdowns against my Miami Dolphins. And I was like, well, damn, dude, I can't even. I mean, like, what do we even do here? Here's my opinion. He is not a one-trick pony. I know a lot of people talk about the rushing upside, and I'm not saying that you're saying that, Wes. I think that while he does have the rushing upside, I believe a second year in the system with Todd Monken, with Mark Andrews being back and being healthy, with Isaiah Likely emerging as potentially the number 2 target. What rumors are talking about right now in this offense. You've been on that for a while, Wes, been talking about Isaiah Likely playing a much bigger role in this offense. And you can do a lot worse than Zay Flowers being your 3rd passing option, your 3rd receiving option on an offense. We may not believe in his ADP for fantasy football, Wes, but there's no denying that he's a fun, special player. It just tend to not look at the wide receiver as Lamar Jackson. But a second year in the system with Todd Monken could do that. Todd Monken loves to air out the football. Here's what I wanted to say when you had Lamar Jackson as your QB9, and you said you had your concerns with Derrick Henry. Do you know how many rushing touchdowns Lamar Jackson had last season?
5?
Or do you have a guess? Okay, he did. He had 5. Do you know how many of those came inside the 5-yard line?
I don't think many, if any. Actually, now that I replay the season,
1.
Yeah,
he had 1 of his 5 touchdowns inside the 5-yard line. I know Derrick Henry they're definitely going to be running the ball more with him. But if the concern for anyone is becoming that he's not going to get Lamar, he's not going to be able to scramble inside the 5, he's not going to have the closer in the red zone rushing touchdowns. Listen, that may be true, but that wasn't even the case for him last year, and he was still elite. He was still an elite option for fantasy football. So I won't be able to not put Lamar Jackson in my top 3 for a long time. That's just how it goes with me. I'm excited for this next year.
I understand.
I think he's going properly in ADP. If you're taking quarterback like that and you're banking on it, I like it. So Lamar Jackson is my QB 3.
Wait till we see the Derrick Henry jump pass to Lamar Jackson for a touchdown.
Dude, I can't wait to text you, like, dude, told you. And it's just
6 points.
Course, right?
Oh, yeah, man.
Nailed it.
Now, so you do like his ADP, though? You're willing to draft Lamar Jackson where he is?
I think, currently he's going as the QB 4. So I do like the ADP. He's going in the 4th round, end of the 4th. I think if you're constructing your team that way and you got 3 studs that you're ready to have a quarterback go with as well, who has that upside like that, who has the top 3 upside, I have no problem taking Lamar at the ADP.
And it also depends how stupid your league mates are, because you never know.
Right.
Like, you may end up getting Lamar Jackson and I don't know, Mike Evans is still there in the 5th round. You're like, oh yeah, I'll take you as my wide receiver too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I understand. And in between QB9 and QB3, I mean, what a value. I mean, that's what you want in the quarterback. It's those spikes. It's that frustration of some weeks it's like, crap. Like, they're just running over everybody and they're not throwing it and they're winning, and stop winning so you can throw more. But yeah, I totally understand. I respect it. We're just in disagreement of where in the top 10, but he's great. There's a
No
reason he's
worries
won 2
there.
MVPs.
Who's your 3?
Uh, almost my quarterback 1. Wasn't sure. Kind of looked at the numbers, put it all together, but I think he's still top 3. Not quite the very best, but I'm gonna put my money on Jalen Hurts as a
Sure.
top 3 quarterback.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of concern about the rushing touchdown. He had a stupid amount of rushing touchdowns. You cut that in half, he's still top 3. Like, he's
Yeah.
still that good. Because he had 13 or 15 rushing touchdowns. And everyone's saying, well, Jason Kelsey's gone, so they're not going to be able to do the tush push as well. They're not going to be able to sneak it in. No, that's part of his game. That has always been part of his game. I meant to pull it up, and I closed out of it. But Jalen Hurts has always had rushing upside. His rookie season, he rushed for 3 touchdowns. La-di-da. Second season, 10. And the next season,
Wait,
13.
that was his rookies. Was that his true rookie season or his first year starting?
True rookie season. True rookie
2020?
season was with 2020, 3 rushing touchdowns.
Cool. He started 3 full games that season, by the way, just so everyone knows.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then
yes, rushing touchdown upside has always been a thing.
Yeah. And his first full season, 10 rushing touchdowns. And then his second season, they went to the Super Bowl, 13 rushing touchdowns. And then last year, 15 rushing touchdowns. So does that mean it's 17? Maybe. I don't know. But does it mean that he's going to have a lot of rushing touchdowns? Yes. So Saquon doesn't concern me. In fact, it's going to be a lot more passing touchdowns, I think. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith all got the bag. I'm so excited for that Eagles receiving core. Cannot wait to talk about them in our wide receiver rankings, but I've got Jalen Hurts here as number 3.
Yeah, I've got him as number 2. I'm one spot higher than you are, Wes. I think he's going to be fantastic. Just to jump to it, I think he's going to be fantastic. Kellen Moore is the new offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Now, it didn't work out all in all. Did you not know this?
No. Sorry, finish your thought. And then I just realized something. But just go ahead.
Okay. So Kellen Moore is the new OC in Philadelphia. I know it didn't work full season for Justin Herbert last year. Let me read off Justin. I don't know what I just said, but Justin Herbert. I don't know if I said Justin Herbert or not.
Then you think of Kellen Moore. So now he's now in Philadelphia. OC.
I know. He's now in Philadelphia. Last season was the OC for the Chargers. Justin Herbert to start the season. QB6, QB12, QB1, QB5, QB5, QB21, QB8, QB25, QB2, QB3, QB15 got hurt. I believe that Jalen Hurts has a wider set of skills than Justin Herbert may have as far as being a fantasy football relevant quarterback. I'm excited for this offense. I'm excited to see what happens. I believe that Jalen Hurts is absolutely an elite quarterback for fantasy football, deserving of being a top 3 round draft pick. I think he's going to be fantastic. 9 weeks he had as a top 5 fantasy quarterback last season. 9 weeks in the top 5. 9 weeks of week winning performances from your fantasy football quarterback last season. I can't tell you enough how exciting he is. He is like the safest floor ever and has every season that he's played. His first full season, dude, I remember this. He had a floor of like 20 points, and I could not believe it just kept on happening. He had like 1 game with less than 20 points, his first full season starting in the NFL. He's fantastic. Less rushing touchdowns with Saquon Barkley there, sure, but I still believe he is going to be an absolute menace to any opponent that is facing him in fantasy football.
Yeah, awesome. Okay,
What were you going to say? Sorry, you had one more thing. I said Kellen Moore, and
I do, but I'm going to wait until after we reveal our number 1.
Okay. So you're 2. This is your QB2.
This is my QB2. Yes, because you said Jalen Hurts is your QB2. Because I just said number 3, and Jalen Hurts is even higher for you. So for me, my QB2 is Mahomes. Okay. I've got him there. I can't not put him in my top 3. I think for a while, for sure, top 5. And I think with the receivers, the passing touchdowns increase, which is why he wasn't in the top 5 last year because he only had 28. And still did all that he did. It was ridiculous. But
Yeah.
I'm buying in on the passing touchdowns going up to like 40. Like, I mean, he's the only guy that can really do that, except for remarkable seasons from certain players.
Right.
But Mahomes is number 2, and I think he's worth his draft pick, and I think you can bank on it. And again, kind of what we're talking about with Lamar Jackson in that range, and now Jalen Hurts as well. You want to call your shot and choose somebody that can have that league-winning upside for the quarterbacks. Mahomes is still the guy, despite being number 4 overall amongst his peers. He's number 2 in my heart, not number 1, but number 2.
Not number 1. I love it. You know, 4, 2, not much of a gap, but we still both are easily. He's a top 5 guy. Going to be elite. Draft him. He's going to be solid for teams this year. The time has come. It's QB1. We're here to talk about him. I mean, I believe we have the same guy. If we don't, this is going to be pretty unbelievable. Yeah. My quarterback 1 for the fantasy football season in 2024 is Josh Allen. Listen, he has lost weapons. It doesn't matter to me. Dalton Kincaid's going to take a step forward, but there's Dawson Knox. Bummer, dude. I don't care. Like, Dalton Kincaid can play. We saw him not playing the true tight end spot. I believe Dalton Kincaid is going to be used not in line as a tight end more than he is in line with the tight end this season. So then Dawson Knox still has the opportunity there to go and play that tight end role. Dalton Kincaid has that. Dalton Kincaid is like a white Cordell Patterson. He's just like a joker, you know? There you go for this Buffalo Bills offense. He's got weapons still. Curtis Samuel, keep sleeping on him. He's going to be solid. Khalil Shakir, as much as our debates want to give us. Solid. No. As much as our debates want to give us, he's also going to be a really solid contributor, going to be good for fantasy football as well. And Keon Coleman, I've even come around a little bit on once I've seen a little bit more of the tape in camp and the connection they're having there. So pair all of that with he just has elite rushing touchdown upside. Josh Allen, I had to triple check this stat. Josh Allen is second all time in quarterback rushing touchdowns behind Cam Newton. That's it. It's Cam Newton and then it's Josh Allen. Right. He is second all time in history. He's been in the league like 5 years. I think he's been longer than that. I think he's like 27 now, or 28. He's been in the league not for long, and he is second all time in quarterback rushing touchdowns. More than Lamar Jackson, more than Jalen Hurts, more than Justin Fields, Michael Vick, any of the rushing quarterbacks, more than Tim Tebow, believe it or not, after that 1 year. It is just, he has elite rushing touchdown upside. Josh Allen is my QB1 for the fantasy football season.
4th and Troll double down to close out the top 10 quarterbacks. Josh Allen, here's the one other stat I will share with Joe Brady. Josh Allen averaged 26.8 points per game, and his rushing stats were 37 yards a game and at least 1 rushing touchdown per game. You do the math, that is well into the double digits for rushing touchdowns, and I think that's fair to guess because he did it last year. Josh Allen, pieces may have changed for his pass catching options. No Stephon Diggs, no Gabe Davis, but we're liking the team. Okay, so here's what I got to mention.
Say it.
No CJ Stroud, huh? No CJ Stroud. Not top 10. Okay.
Nope.
Wow. I was ready to fight you on this. I was ready to say, I don't believe it. I'm not buying in. But here he is.
Did you wait to see if Stroud would be my QB1?
No, I just, it clicked for me because you were talking about Mahomes and then, who is your quarterback 3 again?
Oh, I can go back to the moment you realized. Because you said, all right, the top 3, huh? 3 quarterbacks left, and then you started doing the math on it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Who was my what?
Who is your quarterback 3?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. Oh, and then because you said Jalen Hurts was your number 2, and I realized, oh my gosh, neither of us think CJ Stroud is top 10. Okay, so here's the question. We should answer this before we close the show. CJ Stroud is the 5th quarterback in the draft right now for fantasy, he's going at the top of the 5th round and sometimes at the end of the 4th round, and we're not buying in. Can you explain
No.
your reason why you think he's out of the top 10? If you have your actual ranking of where he finishes, I want to hear that too, but let's just dive into this for just a moment because this is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got him as my QB 13. He's outside my top 12. I believe that, again, he's just one of these guys where they're pocket passers. They don't rush. They don't use their legs. And he's going to have to throw for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns. And I can't for certain say that is going to be what happens. I don't know if I fully have it. He listen, CJ Stroud was a great rookie quarterback last season. Don't get me wrong when I say that. He was a great rookie quarterback last season. Fantastic. He threw for 4,100 yards and 23 touchdowns. Like, that's just not, I don't know if we see the leap made as far as him being a passer. I know you add Stephon Diggs to that offense. Well, you and I don't believe he has that much of an impact. And then you add a better running back to help that running game to the offense as well. I just don't see, again, you just have to call your shot with these pocket passing quarterbacks. And I would rather bet on your, the one that people can call me out on here is Jordan Love. But even that, he had 4 years of NFL experience sitting behind one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game of football. And so, well, Jordan Love's in your top 10. Why is it CJ Stroud? CJ Stroud has time to make mistakes and still be a great quarterback in the NFL. But I know everyone wants to bet on it, but it's just tough. It's just tough to look at, and there's not enough evidence for me, at least, to support him being a top 10 fantasy quarterback this season.
Especially not at his value. His ADP is obnoxious to me. I'll just be honest. It's obnoxious to me because there's a lot of hype.
It's absurd.
But this is the bona fide fact. If you have a quarterback without rushing upside, you need to be damn certain he's throwing 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns. And right now, between the quarterbacks that were surprised last year, Jordan Love is the one to bet on. Of these up and coming quarterbacks, of a pure passer, it's Jordan Love. He's the one to count on because he actually threw 4,100 yards and he actually threw 32 touchdowns. And not to nitpick CJ Stroud, but you take away that one epic game against the Buccaneers where you end up having like 50 points and it was crazy, like 470 yards and 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Take away that one game. This is the average, just as you said, like that 4,300 yards, 26 touchdowns. Like, that's it. That's not top 10 material. Does Stephon Diggs make that difference? Not to us. Not here.
Yeah, guys,
we don't think so.
He was QB 11 last year. Like, it's not like he was a top 10. Like, I get it, but like, it's tough, guys. I love the player. I just don't like him for fantasy. I think he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I've gone on record last season and said, I think this guy's going to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL over the next like 10 years. Like, we're going to watch this guy just play so well. He's got the talent. It's just, I just don't know if you can fully bank on that. It's tough. So I'm going to go ahead and just, I'm not drafting CJ Stroud. That's just where I'm at the moment. So
I say don't.
Listen,
I say don't draft him.
Yeah, don't draft him. You're making a mistake at the cost. Absolutely. Listen, that's it. Bonafide top 10 quarterbacks for 2024. We did it. We're here. Stick around. We got more coming for running backs and wide receivers. It's going to be a blast. Let us know who's making the top 10. Drop in the comments. Who's right, who's wrong, who we need to get out of there. Is Lamar Jackson lower in the top 10, higher in the top 10? Let us know your thoughts. Follow us on all our socials. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. Stick around next week, episode 100. It's going to be a blast. You don't want to miss it. We are saving the spiciest top 10 running back takes just for you guys. It's going to be a good time. We cannot wait. Or wide receivers, Wes. Let's talk about it. We may switch it up. Who knows? I don't know. We'll talk more later. It's going to be a good time. Thanks for sticking around. My name is Noah Selby.
And I'm Wes Selby.
And this has been 4th and Troll Fantasy. Fourth and Troll Fantasy is a production of FQ Media Group and Selby Artistic Workshop.